So 10.1.5 is coming, it's out. It's bringing back some of the most iconic and obtainable gear in the game, and some of it is going to be craftable. We're going to get some stuff from Classic Naxxramas. Well, I'm right now filming, not in Naxxramas, but at least we're in an Acropolis to get the setting right. So what we're getting, you can craft tier 3 items. Well, rather, you can't craft the tier 3 items directly, but through crafting professions, you can get them crafted. By jumping through a couple of hoops. You have to craft them yourself though, so the economic benefit there is a little bit sad, but we'll go through how it works so you can see if there's some opportunities to make gold there. And then a lot of the other Naxxramas loot is also being added back to the game in terms of BOE recipes. So stuff you can actually craft and sell, which is very exciting, obviously. So we're going to go through how the tier 3 crafting works, and we'll look a little bit at the recipes outside of that. And yeah, that's sort of the gist of this video. So for the actual tier 3 crafting, we're going to look at the Wowhead article here. So the first thing is these recipes that craft a bind on pickup item, which means that you will have to have tailoring, leatherworking, or blacksmithing yourself. You don't have to have it on the character that has that specific armor type, by the way. Even though these are BOP, when they're applied to one of the Lamented Crusader pieces, it turns them into a BOA token, so you can then mail it over to your actual whatever. But you do need to have one of these, each of these professions, and you do need to have classic leatherworking, classic tailoring, classic blacksmithing at skill level 300. As it says here, the recipe source is just Discovery Naxxramas. We can see here that there are a couple of materials that are common to all of these. These are already in the game, the middle 3. The war-torn scraps and the frozen runes have not been obtainable for a while, and they're being added back with the patch. But you do need dark runes, essence of undeath, and enchanted leather, arcanite bars, or fellcloth, all of which will probably have gone up in price already with the patch being out. If it hasn't already, then this is something you could stock up on, but I mean, when this is going out on YouTube, it's too late, so don't worry about that at all. How this works is you need to get your hand on one of these lamented pieces, which, as far as we can tell, not bind and pick up, so these can be traded on the auction house. Once you have those, then you need to craft one of these, undeath metal, whatever. You apply that to the Lamented Crusaders piece, and then you get one of these. Which is a BOA token for that for the classes that has that specific item. So you get the cloth one is priest, mage, warlock, etc. And then to actually turn this into a finished item, you need phylactery, which is a BOP material. Presumably you're going to be farming these in Naxxramas, and 10 righteous orbs from Stratholm. So there's a lot of classic materials that are going to see a significantly higher demand and sustained demand. So if you're a farmer type, then I mean, just look at this. This is a laundry list of items you should be farming. Arcanite bars, essence of undeath, dark runes, enchanted leather, fellcloth, and righteous orb, all perfect candidates for farming if you're into that. Yeah, just go to town. Some of these materials have already gone up in price. I think righteous orbs have increased significantly. And we've seen the same, not so much on the other ones, but this is definitely items that we'll see some very significant demand when this comes out. I expect a lot of people will be getting this. I mean, we've all seen or know how much people have been willing to spend on the black market auction house to get the tier 3 pieces. This is definitely one of the transmog sets that I think a lot of people are going to want to finish very quickly, so we can definitely see that happening. Sadly, since this is BOP, there's no real crafting possibilities here to craft for profit. You can potentially, whatever turns out to be the source of these ones is definitely going to be very nice. There's nothing real here. This is just from data mining. I haven't played the PTR, so maybe someone has some insight there. If you do, then do let me know in the comments. But there might, of course, be some opportunities to make gold with the Lamented Crusader pieces. They should be very expensive early on, though. I expect if you can farm for these and sell them on the auction house, that's going to be a way to make some very nice gold. Now, for those of us who like to make gold with crafting, which is obviously me, this is a more interesting list. This is a list of all of the new profession recipes added, which will be added in 10.1.5, and you can see here there are a lot of them. And if you hover over all of these crafted items, most of whom are essentially replacements for the drops that came from the OG classic Naxxramas, and are presumably going to have the same models. All of these are BOE. All of these are BOE. So these are definitely something you can craft and sell, and I expect that there will be some demand. I do expect this to be more similar to the Solgurub ancient items, where there's going to be 1 or 2 looks that are very highly coveted, and then a lot of the rest of them aren't going to be that coveted. To get access to the recipes, you need to get an achievement called Wards of the Dread Citadel. I haven't looked into the Naxxramas content coming, so I'm not exactly sure what you need to do to get this, but that unlocks all of the recipes, all of the Scourgestone, and the main systems of the Naxxramas farm in the patch. So get that, get working on the recipes, and if you look at one of these recipes, you'll see that it has a lot of the same materials as you needed for crafting the BOP materials for crafting your tier 3. It's going to be the same. It's going to be Enchanted Thorium, Essence of Undeath, Dark Rune, Arcanite Bar. So all of these materials will have very, very strong demand for a while now. Maybe it takes a day or two for people to start unlocking these recipes, but this is definitely something that's going to have a sustained demand much higher than normal for a while. Well worth stocking up on already if the price hasn't already exploded, if you're planning to get your hand on some of these recipes. So as you can see here, this is the Ancient Plans Dawn of Demise. There's a lot of recipes. There's 81 total recipes here. This does include some BOP stuff at the top here. Well, 6 or 7. So we're looking at like 74 recipes, most of which are epics from the raid, essentially. So there's a lot of new stuff to craft. Definitely well worth getting your classic professions up to speed, so you can actually craft these items. I think that this is something that we're going to see some very nice demand for, and big advantage, you're selling this only to your own realm. This is not region-wide auction house. Of course, people can trade this kind of stuff cross-realm, so if the recipes are really rare and you're one of the first one to get a specific recipe in your region, then I mean maybe you can manage to sell a bunch of crafted items across regions by utilizing trading discords or other ways to get customers, because we are of course getting region-wide trading as well. Yeah, I expect these recipes to do really well early on when no one has them, because you are crafting items that haven't been in the game for a long time. And most of these are a little bit on the expensive side in terms of materials, and obviously they also need the War-Torn Scrap, which is the new old material dropping from Naxxramas, which will be probably the limiting factor unless it drops in very large quantities. Either way, it'll be exciting to see. This is something that's pretty interesting that's coming in 10.1.5. Usually I'm not a huge fan of cosmetic markets, but this one is one that's coming with something completely new to the game, or rather something that is new / old, something that hasn't been in the game for a long time is coming back, as usually something that turns out to be very popular. So I would be ready to craft these items, and I think that there's going to be a decent chunk of gold to be made if you're in position to craft these from day one.